Well, hello everyone, welcome to 2020. No, this is not the New Year's message. That was supposed to be the first video. It's not anymore. So, just put myself into creative mode in Minecraft. It's supposed to be a survival kingdom. You know, me and my friends were all playing survival together. And, you know, Flick built that in survival. That's some dedication. Mephi, she built that in survival. That's some dedication. But yeah, we're just gonna go into creative, and we're just gonna kind of do some terraforming across a little mountain. We're just gonna do some terraforming across a little mountain right here. So I've been clearing this out, but I'm just gonna keep creative moding it away. Shouldn't really, but you know, I'm gonna keep creative moding it away. Just for easiness, just gives you something to watch, something you don't have to watch. It's more a discussion, and at the correct times I will say, hey, we are looking at Twitter now for one thing in particular, because the Pokemon Sword and Shield Direct was today, or it was just a Pokemon Direct, and everybody expected home, bit of Sword and Shield news, you know, like a raid or whatever. And, you know, maybe Pokemon Sleep, you know, to make some memes or some jokes or whatever, you know, nothing really big, nothing really crazy. So, well, let's get the small one out the way first. Or let's get the couple of small ones out the way first. Everybody enjoyed. So, they have increased the spawn rate of a few of the raid Pokemon, being Colossus, Lapras, Flapple, Appleton. Hey, that's nice, you know. They were some of the rarer ones. Lapras and Colossal on their respective versions only had a 5% chance to be found within a raid den. They were one of the rarer ones, so nice that they did that event for you. Very nice. Good. Clap, clap, clap. And then the other one was the Mystery Dungeon remake, the OG Red and Blue Mystery Dungeon remake, which everybody's excited for. There is a demo out. Everybody is playing the demo. Everybody having a very good time. Very nice. Everybody enjoying themselves, and that was very positive reveal. And good job. You did nice. And then we come to the big news. The news that they spent 15 of the 20 minutes of the direct on, and the one that, like the National Dex, has got everybody in a tizzy, because it's the first time Pokemon's done this, and, you know, savour the meme, there has been a few Gen 1ers, a few purists that are disgusted at the idea. There's a few that are on board with it, and like the National Dex, the community is now split. So what's gone on? What is the big kerfuffle? Well, Pokemon Sword and Shield have announced a DLC instead of an update. So normally there is a deluxe version. If you've played Pokemon, or even if you've been anywhere near Pokemon for any amount of time, 90% of the time, barring one or two generations, there is always a deluxe version. So, you know, red, blue, deluxe version of yellow, gold, silver, deluxe version of crystal, ruby, sapphire, deluxe version of emerald, diamond, pearl, deluxe version of platinum, and so on and so on. You get the idea. There is always a deluxe version for the most part, and these deluxe versions tend to be a more complete adventure. So with yellow, for example, Pikachu would follow you around like he would in the show. It had Jesse and James from the show. Or for Emerald per se, there was a lot more post-game content with the Battle Frontier and this whole big adventure after the post-game. So it's usually, oh, and in the deluxe versions you can also catch both Pokemon as well as the third legendary. So with Emerald, you could catch Kyogre and Groudon, not just one or the other, and then Rayquaza. Or with Platinum, you could catch Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina. So it wasn't just, again, locked to one of the other. You could have or you could have both. And this trend has been on a downward decline. This is why, like, I don't see the bad idea, but we'll move to that. But this trend has been on a downward decline because people over the past couple of generations have been clocking on to the fact that there is always a deluxe version. Sun and Moon not selling as well as it could have because following the deluxe formula, why would I buy Sun and Moon when I can just wait a year, maybe 2 years, and get the deluxe version of Stars or whatever it may be? It ended up being Ultra Sun and Moon, but again, it was still a deluxe version. It was more complete. You had the whole post game where you got on Lunala or Solgaleo and you were flying through Ultra space. There was more content in the Ultra version, and people had clocked on. Sun and Moon did not sell as well as it could have because people were like, nah thanks, nah, I'll just wait for the deluxe version. And lo and behold, to no one's surprise, a deluxe version come. And the deluxe version is another $60. So essentially, they want you to pay $120 for 2 versions because you're going to spend your initial $60 on whatever it may be, whether it be Sword or Shield or Sun or Moon, take your pick. I mean, some people are mad and spend $120 on both, but let's be realistic and say you only want one. So you spent $60 on Pokemon Moon. You got your Lunala, and you feel good about yourself. But then Ultra Moon comes out, and it's got all the flying through the Ultra space on Lunala. It's got that parallel dimension city and the parallel dimension police with Necrozma and Ultra Necrozma. It's got all that content, and you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, well, I don't want to miss out. So, you know, I'll take the bait. I will buy Ultra Moon. So Pokemon Company got $120 out of you. They got $60 for the base game and then $60 for the deluxe version. And because people had clocked onto this after they did it constantly on repeat, obviously Sun and Moon did not sell as well because people were like, yeah, I'll just wait for Ultra Sun and Moon. Lo and behold, Ultra Sun and Moon came out, and Ultra Sun and Moon, that's the one people bought. So this formula has got stale. People clocked onto it, people know the game, and with Sword and Shield came a lot of changes that people didn't like with Bring Back the National Dex, where the National Dex was completely cut. Over 500 Pokemon completely erased, and then there was a lot of other missing features, and people had the horrible notion, which would have been the most scummiest notion, that Pokemon Company was going to engage in a AAA business practice of solution selling. That's where a company will come up with a problem on their own and sell a solution. A good example of this is Fallout 76, where scrap boxes have a limit of 800 scrap, so once you hit that limit you can no longer carry around any more scrap, and it is a detriment to the game. This was a problem that Bethesda invented solely for the fact of selling back the solution, with the solution being that you spend $100 on their premium subscription of Fallout First, and you get a scrap box that, surprise surprise, has unlimited scrap. So they could easily put this unlimited scrap box in the game, but all of you non-premium people, we invented this problem to sell you the solution. And with the removal of the National Dex, a lot of people thought that they were going to solution sell. Oh, they're going to sell the solution back to us in Pokemon Gun. Everybody's expecting Pokemon Gun. They're going to sell the solution back to us in Pokemon Gun. And then we now have the full story, and we're caught up to today, where Gun was completely and totally debunked. They pretty much said that we are no longer doing a deluxe version. Like, there might be a Game of the Year version that comes with all of this later down the line, but that's another story for another day. But in terms of a third deluxe version, they said, no. We're not doing a deluxe version. There will be no Pokemon Gun. Instead, we want to treat this, and, you know, here comes the toxic word, and here comes the entire, oh my god, doom and destruction moment. They said, we want to treat this as a live service. Oh dear god. And then, you know, everybody had the PTSD flashbacks, like, oh dear god, Battlefront 2 with the loot boxes, oh god, it's Fortnite, log in to get your battle pass complete, oh fuck, it's Paladins, log in to get your battle pass complete, oh dear god, it's Crash Team Racing, keep doing the Grand Prix over and over again, I'm hyperventilating, I can't take it. And then they had even more post-traumatic flashbacks when they said the next dirty word, roadmap. Oh god, roadmap. Roadmap. Oh Jesus Christ, it's Anthem. It's Anthem. We're going to have this big long roadmap that they're going to cancel. Oh fuck, it's Fallout 76 with Wild Appalachia, the Nuclear Winter, the Wastelanders DLC, and all the others. Oh god, they're going to cancel the roadmap, and people lost their shit. People, just from hearing the term live service and roadmap, people lost their shit. And, you know, quite rightly so. A lot of companies like EA and Bethesda and Anthem and Activision have turned both live services and roadmaps into nasty words, because that's what the AAA companies do. They take a good idea and twist and break it to be a horrible, terrible idea. So, because in theory, a roadmap to show all your fans what you've got planned down the line is a great idea. Like, hey, we're working on this stuff, so, you know, game's not dead, don't expect it anytime soon, but here's something to look forward to, and then people will be like, hey, yeah, you know what, that's great, I'm looking forward to that, I'm happy to see that whenever it comes. But then you'll have somebody like Anthem or 76 that will make a 20-page roadmap, and then people will be like, oh, where is it? Well, we couldn't do it, we cancelled it. So everybody became on edge, but people still waited. Well, some people waited, because we're about to move into Twitter in a minute. But some people waited to see what they said, and as did I. That's why I didn't make a initial reaction. I sat down and I saw what both sides had to say, and what both sides had to say was what's about to come up. So I sat down, I watched it, and I said, okay, Pokemon Company, this is a battle pass. This is not a battle pass, sorry. This is a season pass. This is a roadmap. This is a live service. So explain to me exactly, in the most detail you can, what you're planning here, because those words are now dirty and you're right on edge. And they explained, they said, right, so here's what we want to do. We don't want to make a deluxe version anymore. Right, I'm with you. That's good. I don't want to pay $60 for Pokemon Gun. I'm happy with Shield and Sword. I'm happy with this standard version. Don't want a deluxe version. I'm good with that. So what's next? So what we want to do, instead of a deluxe version, is we want to make this into a live service. Ooh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Pokemon Company. That's a dirty word. Well, we don't mean a live service like Paladins or Overwatch or Fortnite. We don't mean like a continual do season after season, battle pass after battle pass mode. We're more talking about a live service in the way of World of Warcraft, where once every couple of months we're going to release an expansion pack like Battle for Azeroth, Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm. Okay, I can see that. That's the good way to do a live service like World of Warcraft. Now, I know World of Warcraft has gone to shit with Battle for Azeroth. I'm not going to touch Battle for Azeroth, but you know, Final Fantasy XIV with Shadowbringers, same concept. Everybody loves Shadowbringers, so it's like, okay, Pokemon, I like this idea. I like your World of Warcraft little expansions approach. So explain the expansion first. Right, so we're going to have a brand new region. It's a full island that's going to last you not as long as the main campaign. It's not going to last you 40 to 60 hours. Going to be more 20 hours because there is still like a gym challenge. Not like 8 gyms and a champion, but there is a dojo. Sorry, there is a dojo where you're going to train, and you're going to have to rank up from, like, you know, the different coloured belts of the dojo. So you're going to start off as like a white belt, move up to a green belt, up to a blue belt, up to, you know, all the way up to a black belt. So you will still be like progressing. You'll still have to go around the island, do these dojos and level up and stuff. And it's like, right, okay, see that, like that, I'm following you here. And then there's also like this little Jack Black panda, even though we've got one, that evolves into a bigger Kung Fu panda. So he's kind of a pseudo legendary. You know, he's not a real legendary, but we're gonna call him one. Alright, so new legendary. We're also, not only are we going to give you this medium-sized island, because again, it's not as big as the main game, we're not only going to give you this medium-sized island for an adventure, and we're not only going to give you a legendary, but we're also going to give you a brand new wild area. Oh yes, I like the wild area. I would prefer it to be a bit more optimized than the standard one, but we're going to give you a brand new wild area with brand new raid battles, with the new Giga Pokemon, like the Gigantamax Galar starters with Cinderace, which has just got super floppy ears and looks like Klonoa, and Inteleon, that is now the sniper from Team Fortress 2. He sits on the top of the sniper tower with his sniper gun, and he's going to stream Snipe Ninja. Nice. And then we've also got the other two Gigantamaxes of the Cantonian starters of Venusaur and Blastoise, just to complete that trilogy. Alright, well, this is sounding good. This is a great amount of content. And then, we're not done there yet. We're not done. Oh, really? You're not done? Well, this seems like a lot. What else you got? We've also got 100 more Pokemon in this island. Ooh. What do you mean by 100? What do you mean by 100 new Pokemon? Because you're not making new Pokemon. What do you mean by that? Stop the presses. What do you mean by that? Well, Spyro, we are going to bring back another 100 Pokemon. So there are going to be Pokemon that you wanted personally, like Kingdra. Kingdra's coming back. Garchomp's coming back. There's going to be a lot of returning Pokemon to this island, and right now you can, when we'll get to the Slowpoke in a minute, but right now you can get yourself a Slowpoke. He'll show up at the train station, and you can catch a Slowpoke as a little taster of this first expansion pass. Now you see, and this is where the communication breaks down. I also don't know why this world is currently freezing. I'm sorry about this. I think we've just put too much in the world, because like we've got this entire underground network, and we've got towers leading into the sky, and there's like you know, flying over here, there's this whole like coral reef system that's starting to be built around everywhere. It looks nice, but I think we're just like overcrowding this world with a lot of stuff. But yeah, now Pokemon. This is where I'm slightly annoyed at you, and this is where we move to Twitter now, because the National Dex was removed, and we thought that you were going to solution sell Pokemon Gun with the National Dex. Hey, you can't get your Pokemon, so you better buy Pokemon Gun. Nobody wanted that, and that had caused you some shit. It's kind of what you did here, because with this announcement, we now know why those Pokemon were cut. Because they are going to be sold back. They are going to solution sell the expansion pass. You are solution selling the expansion pass there, Pokemon. But we're not done. We're not done. We know. We can see you looking at us, Spyro. We can see you looking at us with the death stare. We're not done. Well, you bet you're on thin ice, mister. You're on thin ice. What are you going to tell me next? Well, that's just one of the expansion packs. That's just the sword. That's just like the Shield Island. We're going to go to Sword Island as well. Okay, keep going. So, in Sword Island, it's going to be same dealio. You're going to have another 20-hour adventure. So that's going to be 40 hours when you put them together, right? And you're going to have another 100 Pokemon in the Sword Island. So that's 200 coming back. That's solution selling. Solution selling Pokemon. Wait. Okay, I'll wait. I'll be calm, I'll wait. And you're going to be able to catch another legendary, which is this deer thing with a ball on its head, because it's like supposed to be a king. It's like a jewel, a crown. Okay, so you've got another 20-hour story, you've got another legendary, and you're going to have another set of Pokemon, and you're going to have another wild area, and even more Gigaforms. Okay, but the solution selling problem. Well, you see, we understand that, but we've got a compromise for you. What's the compromise? Only one person has to buy it. Excuse me? So, only one person has to buy it, and they can, they can catch all the Pokemon in that area and trade them to you. Okay? But what if I already have those Pokemon? Well, you can transfer them from Pokemon Home. So, when you get your Kingdra, you can transfer him now. Before, like, let's say Pokemon Home was out today. You can't transfer Kingdra. He's not in the Galar Dex right now. So when Kingdra comes out, no, you can't transfer him. You can't transfer him. And when he comes out, then you can. So you technically don't have to buy these DLCs. If you don't want them, if you just want to transfer all your Pokemon, you can. Once Pokemon Home comes out, anybody that gets added to these future patches will be transferable. So right now, there is 400 transferable. The ones that are already in the game. Yes. Then when the Shield Island comes out, we add another 100. So then you can transfer those 100. Yes. And then when the Shield Island comes out, you can transfer the next 100. So that once both this Sword Island and this Shield Island are out, you will be able to transfer 600 of the 900 Pokemon without buying the DLCs. So, while we are currently locking them, we are adding them in for free. Like, once you have Pokemon Home, you will be able to put any Pokemon that are not in the game into the game, but only as the DLCs come out. That way we can just kind of gradually meld it all in together. Think of it like Smash Brothers Ultimate. So, like, oh, well, at launch, there wasn't Joker and Banjo-Kazooie and Terry. Like, all these people weren't in, but rather than, like, trying to push all 5 in at once, they give you Joker first, then they waited a bit, then they give you Banjo-Kazooie, then they waited a bit, then they give you Terry, then they waited a bit. You see how they kind of like push one in, then they have a break, then they push another in? That's what we here at the Pokemon Company want to do. We want to just gradually edge it all in, and eventually, once we've got all 900 in, it'll be like it'll be like Pokemon Ultimate. It'll be like the Ultimate Edition, because everything will be in. But we can't just drop everything all at once. We're just kind of pushing it in gently. Alright, well, I see that. I understand that. But we come to the most important thing here, Mr. Pokemon Company, Mr. Masuda. What's the price? Because that's a lot of content. And we know how AAA is with content, so what's your offer? What you saying to me right now? Give me a number, because that's the number that's going to dictate everything. It's going to be $30. What? So what do you mean? $30 for one? Or no, both. So if you can pre-order it or you can buy it on the day. If you give us $30, you will have the Shield Island and the Sword Island. So you will have both. So essentially, you're paying $30 for 40 hours worth of content, but it'll be broken into 2 sets of 20. So kind of split your money down the middle. So $15 will get you the Shield Island and 20 hours of content. Then $15 more will get you the Sword Island and the other 20. So it's $30 for 40 hours of content. Okay. Is that everything that you have to say, Pokemon Company? Is that your statement? Yes, that's like. Well, no. We got some other little things for you as well. Where if you pre-order the expansion pack, if you pre-order let's call it a season pass. Let's call it what it is. It's a season pass. Well, if you pre-order the season pass and download the update, you can get a football uniform with a Pikachu on the shirt and a football uniform on the with an Eevee on it. Both. You can get both of them right now. And as I say from earlier, with the pre-order, you can also go to a train station where you can get the Galarian Slowpoke from the Shield Island, and you will see a man from the Shield DLC. He's there, and he's gonna say, "Hey, one day I'm gonna meet you on that Shield Island, and I suspect that when I meet you on that Shield Island, you're gonna be a great trainer. But I don't think you're ready to get on this train with me yet because, you know, the DLC is not ready yet. But when I think you're ready, I'll send you a ticket to Shield Island." Alright, you know what? That's fine. That's okay. I'm fine with it. Well, wait, can you get the Slowpoke if you don't pre-order? Yes, there will be Slowpoke. There will be infinite amounts of Slowpoke. Getting tongue twisted there. There will be infinite amounts of Slowpoke on the island. This one, just there if you want him, if you're invested. All right. Okay. Will this price ever change? No, it's going to be $30 forever for the Sword and Shield. Let's call it Season 1. Let's call it what it is, because we know that if this succeeds, they're going to do a Season 2 where it's going to be like, hey, welcome to Mega Island and Ultra Beast. Oh, that's one other thing. Also in the Sword Tundra, they have legendary raids. So in the Sword DLC, you will be able to raid for all the legendary Pokemon like Lugia, Ho-Oh, Suicune, Reshiram, Zekrom, Lunala. All the legendaries are going to be raidable. And all the legendaries are going to be shiny. Well, not they have a chance to be shiny. They will no longer be shiny locked. You can get them all. We're keeping the mythicals though. You can't have the mythicals yet. Mew, Zeraora, Celebi, those are still in the vault. But hey, legendary raids. Alright, well, you know, that's like any game, like Destiny. We wanted actual legendary raids, not just 5-star. Ooh, it's a very strong Gigalith. No, we wanted actual legendary Pokemon raids, so you're adding them in. And now we come to Twitter. So if you would now like to direct your attention to the screen, I am now bringing up the thing that is now, after this showed up, the thing that's happened, where we've got a split. So as you can see by this gentleman here, we are living in an awful century where you have to pay for a Pokemon DLC / add-on, RIP, where they have made a picture of the original Game Freak with red, blue, yellow. Green was kind of the anomaly. Gold, silver, crystal, ruby, sapphire, emerald. You know, the two versions with the deluxe version, and then Sword and Shield with the EA of Game Freak capitalized. There are other people who also think this way. You know, this isn't bad. It's split now. We've got people saying this shit should have been in the base game. I don't think it should. This isn't a bad take. It's not. It's fine. I think this is a fine idea. And as this guy says, isn't the DLC really big? Yes, they stated it's going to be 2 brand new maps. It's going to be 2 big maps. So that's not a bad thing. It's going to be big. The Lonely Goomba chipping in. Honestly, and this is the one that I kind of stand by here, I don't get how people can be perfectly okay with them releasing an updated version of the previous game, what we talked about in the beginning, the deluxe version of the game, but be against entirely new content. Wait there. It changed. But be against entirely new content, other than hating the mere existence of DLC, regardless of quality. So that's where we are. We are now back to thank you Game Freak. Game Freak lied. Bring back the national decks. No need to bring back the national decks. We have got the clashing sides. We will do 2 more, and then I will give you my take. This one, again, another sane person, Roy Davis. While I do prefer this approach rather than another release of the same game, that deluxe version we talked about, it does confirm the theory that they didn't give us the national decks so they could sell it to us later. Yes, I am wary of that solution selling. They have used these tactics for years, so it doesn't surprise me. And then we have a person chipping in saying, actually, if you don't buy the DLCs with an update, you will be able to transfer the newly added Pokemon to your non-DLC save file. So no Pokemon are being held behind a paywall, which again is what we brought up, where as the Pokemon get added, you will be able to transfer them. So we are currently in a split. We're in that split again. So where do I stand? Let's go back to Minecraft now. So where do I stand on this? I mean, from the title, you probably already kind of know that I'm going to go one way or the other, because I said, hey, it's the worst thing in the world that will save Pokemon. So where do I stand on it? I stand on the fact that I think it's perfectly fine. Pokemon has been stagnating for years. The formula has grown quite old, and to take new risks, and this is what I brought up in my previous video, the best games of the year with Cadence of Hyrule, where Mr. Furukawa is experimenting, letting indie developers touch first-party products like Zelda, and by allowing a brand new, fresh indie eye into their personal first-party IP, we got the fantastic game of Cadence of Hyrule, because they were allowed to experiment. Mr. Furukawa is very experimental since his rise to power after after Kimishima stepped down. After all, Kimishima was just a temporary, a placeholder after Mr. Satoru Iwata's unfortunate passing. So Mr. Kimishima was just a placeholder, and they wanted to find somebody that had a new vision. And Mr. Furukawa is barely in his 40s. He's in his early 40s, so he is still very young and is open to experimentation. He's open to removing Content ID completely from YouTube, so you don't have to play Chains of Love to every Nintendo video anymore. You can just upload it. It's fine. He's about letting indie developers touch his first-party IP like Zelda, and we got Cadence of Hyrule. He is a man that is very experimental, and all these experiments so far have, for the most part, resulted in a overwhelming success, with a lot of people saying that Furukawa was a good successor to Iwata, and that he will be a good leader of Nintendo. And being that Pokemon is primarily a Nintendo product, I know that they are their own company now, but being that they are purely published on the Switch and no other console, they are still very connected to Nintendo. Pokemon is also open Not as open as Furukawa, because Jesus, you talk about a Nuzlocke in front of them, then they think that the Antichrist is rising from the grave. Don't mention the Nuzlocke in front of them, but when you can convince them, when you can butter them up, they are open to some experimentation. And with this is their first ever time venturing into the world of live services. Their first ever time venturing into the idea of no longer making Pokemon a yearly sequel, but rather instead saying, okay, well, what if we just do the World of Warcraft approach and add a whole new area to the game with returning monsters and new monsters, because there are going to be new Galarian forms like the Galarian Slowpoke. What if we just kind of do that? Would people take it? Would people accept it better? And I think that this, personally, in my opinion, I think that this is a better road for Pokemon. As while it doesn't work for a full live service which tries to constantly keep you on the grind like Fortnite or Paladins or Battlefront 2 or, some sort of thing where there's always a battle pass, while it doesn't work for those types of games, the idea of an expansion pass works for a game like World of Warcraft, like Final Fantasy XIV, a MMO where it's always online, like World of Warcraft, but it has the luxury of saying, here's enough content to keep you going for the year, and then next year we'll bring out another one. We've got the base game, but now here's Burning Crusade. This will keep you going for a while, and then once you've all kind of done everything, seen everything in Burning Crusade, here is Wrath of the Lich King, and that'll keep you going for another year, and that'll keep you all nice and dandy. And then here is Cataclysm with Deathwing, and that'll keep you going for a while. Now, is this sustainable forever? Because after Cataclysm, it started to go downhill with Mists of Pandaria and Battle for Azeroth and Warlords of Draenor. Oh god. No, obviously it's not viable to keep going for forever. But for the future, for the current couple of years, the next 3 years, if you are going to try and do a Smash Brothers Ultimate type affair, where you're going to add in Pokemon every expansion pass, as well as add in returning Pokemon, or returning things, as in their little DLC pre-order patch, it's been found that there is the Mega Evolution icon, hinting that maybe, let's just say, Expansion Pass 1 is the Sword Island with a couple of Gigantamax, and Part 2, the Shield Island, is the Legendaries. Then next year they say, right, here's Expansion Pass 2. You're going to go to Mega Island, where you can catch all the Mega Pokemon. And then you're going to go to Ultra Beast Land, where you can catch all the Ultra Beasts. Then we get to year 3, Expansion Pass 3. Here's Mythical Island, where you can catch all the Mythicals. And then we're just going to straight up let you go to Alola to go get Z Crystals. If they keep adding that in, they'll be fine for the next couple of years. If they're just going to start, adding everything, that would be fine for the next couple of years. So, while we all should definitely, because it is still a AAA company, that's something to keep in mind and something we should be wary of. While it is still a AAA company, and we should definitely be wary of any AAA company using the terms of live services and roadmaps, Pokemon, I think it works for Pokemon. I would prefer this. I would prefer spending $30 every year rather than $60, for the deluxe version, because you're just paying double at that point. I would rather spend $30 every year on expansion passes like Battle for Azeroth, Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King. I would rather spend $30 a year on a good expansion pack that gives me a good 40 hours of content, opposed to $60 for the exact same game, but we made the Pikachu look a little bit shinier and we added one boss after the post game. Like, the whole, as I say, with just the sales report itself, with Sun and Moon versus Ultra Sun and Moon, we all clocked on to the deluxe gimmick. We've all seen the deluxe gimmick. We all were like, well, why would I buy this game when I can just wait a year and Pokemon Stars will come out, or Pokemon Gun will come out? And because people have got so wise to it, the original, the base game itself, has been selling less and less. Because, yes, why would you buy the base game when there is a deluxe version? Whereas with this, it's like, hey, you buy the base game, which, you know, by the time these DLCs come out, it's going to be about a year old anyway. So you're going to have it going on discount in a couple of stores. You can probably buy it pre-owned, so it's probably not even going to cost you $60 at that point. But you can buy the base game, and then you can buy the additions. And a good example of this, a fantastic example of this, before they went to shit, of course, is Bethesda, who did it right. We have good games like Skyrim, meme all you want. Skyrim was one of the most influential games of the year, hence it's been re-released a bajillion million times. And when Skyrim come out, it gives you hours of content. Everybody loves Skyrim. Everybody was like, oh, so much to see, so much to do in Skyrim. So many things. And then they're like, oh yeah, that's great. I'm glad you're enjoying that. Now here's Dawnguard for 20. Dawnguard gives you whole new castle, whole new area, whole new map to explore with the werewolves. You get the Dracula castle. Can't argue with that. Then a couple of years later, here's Dragonborn. It gives you the iron, not like the full region of Cyrodiil, but it gives you one of the islands of Cyrodiil. It's a whole nother 40 to 60 hour role-playing goodness in Skyrim. And then after they did the Dawnguard, the Dragonborn, everybody liked it. And for those that didn't have the game, they were like, here's a Game of the Year edition that is the base game and all the DLCs. So if Pokemon wants to take the Skyrim route, I have no problem with that, because it worked for Skyrim. Everybody loved Skyrim. They did that for New Vegas. Everybody loves New Vegas. Yes, some of them, like, is it Lonesome Hearts? I think that's the bad DLC. Or is it the casino one? There's only one in New Vegas that's bad. But, you know, some of them, like Lonesome Hearts, that was a bit oof. But for the most part, everybody loved the DLCs. Even the dubious, you know, the one that people say isn't a proper Fallout game, that being Fallout 4, because it does remove a lot of the Fallout elements. Even Fallout 4 did the whole expansion pass thing, which again, you know, people had enough fun in the base game to say, you know, it's not a Fallout game, but still fairly good. Then we got Far Harbor. Oh my god, Far Harbor is almost New Vegas. I don't know which person at Bethesda made Far Harbor. You should hire that man. You should hire that man for Fallout 5. Hire the guy that made Far Harbor, because Far Harbor was so close to New Vegas. But I'm getting off topic. That's for another time. But Far Harbor, so good. Everybody loved it. Then later down the line, they were like, hey, we know you liked Far Harbor. Here's another expansion of Nuka World. Everybody likes Nuka World for the most part. There are a couple of problems with Nuka World, like how once you beat the area, you can't like restore Nuka World, and that's kind of like the whole point. You know, you clear out the bandits, you now own Nuka World, you are now like the leader of Nuka World, yet you can't clean up your own theme park, so that's a little bit shitty. But again, that was an expansion pack. That was a DLC that everybody really enjoyed. So the whole concept of an expansion pack, the whole concept of an extra area is not a bad thing. And being Pokemon is very much like Skyrim or Fallout, where it is a big world, especially the wild area, where you're going to be doing raids with your friends. It's like an RPG, you know, you're going to be talking to characters, you're going to be training your Pokemon, you're going to be leveling up like a real RPG. It kind of lends itself to be more friendly, more open to the idea of having expansion packs. And if that's the route they want to go, I feel like it's a good route. And I feel like after we get, you know, the basics out of the way, after we get this little testing ground, because this is what this is, it's a testing ground. After we get the testing ground out of the way, where it's like, oh, here's the legendary raids, and here's like a couple of extra Gigantamax Pokemon, next year we could go full crazy and say, hey, you know those Ultra Beasts? You're going to have an expansion pass where you go to Ultra Space. You know all those different areas in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon that are kind of just like a set piece, where, you know, like how Nihilego is in just that one tiny area of Ultra Space but it doesn't expand, or what's her name, Celesteela is like in that bamboo forest but it's literally just like a circle of bamboo so you can't like explore further. Well, next expansion pass, all those ultra areas are going to be wild areas. You're going to see a wild area of Nihilegu's sea. You're going to see a wild area of Celesteela's forest. You're going to see a wild area of Circuitry's power plant. Like, all these ultra dimensions, all going to be wild areas. We can expand. Like, the ideas, the potential. Because with a deluxe version, you're only going to get the base game again. And this is like the other problem of why a deluxe version is bad. You're going to get the base game again, and then one extra piece of content in the post game. Like, oh, here's the base game pretty much exactly as it was, and then you get the Battle Frontier. You get a little thing at the end. But taking the Skyrim Fallout approach, or World of Warcraft, where you can add anything you desire, now we have infinite possibilities. Because it's like, hey, you want the Ultra Beast? Every Ultra Beast area, wild area. Nihilego Sea, wild area. Celesteela's bamboo space-time, wild area. Circuitry's power plant, wild area. We can add them all. Oh, what's that? You want Mega Pokemon? You want Mega Pokemon? Here is Mega Island. The entire island is covered in Mega Stones. You will do Mega Pokemon raids. So you'll go into a raid. There's a Mega Charizard raid. There's a Mega Magnetric raid. Like, now that you have this creative freedom to work on whatever you want, they can go a lot further than just a deluxe version where it's like, here's the base game and it's got one extra thing at the end. So, in terms of where I stand on this whole, oh god, they're doing a live service, they're doing a roadmap, they're making us pay $30 for an expansion pass. I mean, you've been paying $30 for expansion passes for a long time. Because, remember, you're getting two. You're getting the Isle of Armor and the Sword Tundra. I don't remember what the Sword Tundra is called. But you're getting two 20-hour areas for $30. Do you know how much Far Harbor was? 15. Do you know how much Nuka World was? 15. You paid $30 for two DLCs. Do you know how much Dawnguard was? 15. Do you know how much Dragonborn was at launch? 15. You paid $30 to Bethesda for two expansion packs. You've been paying $30 for two expansion packs for literal years now. You've been doing it for years. You give Bethesda $30 for the Dawnguard and the Dragonborn. You give Bethesda $30 for Nuka World and Far Harbor. You give fucking World of Warcraft $30 every time for the Burning Crusade and the Wrath of the Lich King. You've been doing it for literal years. So, Why are you complaining now when Pokemon, a series that could really benefit... My throat's getting dry. But why are you complaining now when Pokemon, a series that would really benefit from it, is doing it? When you've been literally paying other companies for years. Makes no sense, right? So, yeah, that's where I stand on it. I think it's a fine idea. I'm sure that there are going to be counter-arguments to this. I'm sure that there will be people that will come up with some very decent counter-arguments saying like, oh yes, I mean, I can think of one myself where it's like, oh yes, it is good, Spyro. It is good that Pokemon can re-add the Megas, re-add all these islands, re-add all this stuff now that they are doing expansion passes. But as you said, Spyro, with World of Warcraft, what happens when they start milking it? Because sure, the first 4 islands, the first 4 DLCs might be what everybody wanted. You know, like DLC 1, it's got the legendary raids. Everybody wants that. That's the Burning Crusade. Or sorry, that's the Isle of Armor is the Burning Crusade. Yes, expansion pack 2 adds the legendary raids. That is Wrath of the Lich King, the one that everybody likes. Expansion pass 3 is your hypothetical Mega Island. Everybody likes Cataclysm. Expansion pass 4 with the mystical Pokemon. That's Burning Crusade. Oh, sorry, the Ultra Beasts. That's Mists of Pandaria. That's getting a little dubious, Spyro. And then what happens after that when they start milking it? Where Expansion Pass 5, your mythical island, is Warlords of Draenor, that everybody hates. And then Expansion Pack 6 is Battle for Azeroth, that everybody detests. What happens when Pokemon Sword and Shield gets to their 6th expansion pass? So yes, I can see that there could be ways, there could be negatives to this, there could be ways to exploit this, but we're not there yet. I again, with the whole, we're selling a couple of Pokemon back to you with like, oh, we're re-adding 200, that's a little bit dubious. I mean, they have said that once the DLC is out, anybody that's got those Pokemon in Pokemon Home can transfer them free of charge. So they are still, like, trying. They're still trying to be good, but it is definitely something that we need to keep our eye on. And that's just kind of what you've got to do nowadays. If it's a good idea, and this is what I would take away from this video, my final message. If it's a good idea, let the company do it. This Pokemon idea is a good idea, and we should let them do it. Because if it works, there's a lot of people that are going to be very happy with this idea. It's going to make a lot of people very, very happy, because Pokemon is finally evolving, Pokemon is finally moving on. But like with Crash Team Racing or any live service game, Paladins, which is currently going through a rough spot with Season 3 where they've nerfed shields and made Rekka stronger, so tanks are not in a nice place, and because tanks are not in a nice place, they nerfed Cauterize, which nerfed healers, so some healers also not in a nice place right now, like Genos. Genos fucked. Genos is just absolute trash now. Genos used to be a good healer, and Genos is just shit. Genos is just absolute fucking trash now. Like, god damn, what have they done to Genos? So, what are we doing? We're doing what we always do. We get on Twitter and we complain. We say, hey, stop fucking this up. This is a good idea. You're fucking it up. Why are you fucking up a good idea? Don't be EA. So, yes. Is it something to be wary of? To watch? Yes, it is something to be wary of and to watch. Because they are experimenting with this whole live service expansion pass concept. But it is a good concept. And for Pokemon in general, it could work. And for now, expansion pass 1 and 2, it's what people want. And I can already see a lot of positivity that people like this idea and people are really excited to see Pokemon evolve and move and take this idea forwards. So we should just let them naturally just do it for now. We should just naturally let them roll, let them do it, and enjoy Expansion Pass 1 and 2, as I don't think there's any argument that Expansion Pass 1 and 2 is going to be fine. After that, though, when we get to Expansion Pass 3 and 4, if they continue, remember this is a hypothetical if there is a 3 and 4, but if they continue and then they start going down that Paladin's path where it's like, hey, we got a new Expansion Pass, but there's a caveat, that's when you say, no, Pokemon. That's when you start being mad. That's when you're like, no, Pokemon. Expansion Pass 1, that was good. Expansion Pass 2, that was good. Don't fuck it up. Why are you fucking up the Ultra Beast Expansion Pass? Why are you fucking up the Ultra Beast Expansion Pass, Pokemon? 1 and 2 were good. Shield Island and Sword Island were good. Why are you fucking it up? Stop fucking it up. That's when you complain. So for now, it's a fine idea. Let them roll with it. Let them experiment with it. Let them try things. If the experiment works, hopefully it'll continue. And if it does continue, and we do see Expansion Pack 3 and 4, that's when we watch them carefully. And if they try and fuck up 3 and 4, then you get on them. Then you say, stop it. Don't do that. That's a bad thing. Don't be mean to them. Don't go complete crazy. Don't tell them to piss off and kill themselves. Don't be stupid. Just be like, hey, you've got a good thing going. Don't screw it up. We're just kind of spraying you with a water bottle. We're just kind of saying, no, that's bad. Bap you with a just get a rolled up newspaper, just give them a tap on the head. Like, no, bap you on the head. No, please. Stop that. Stop doing that. Don't screw up the Ultra Beast expansion pack. So yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on Pokemon. I know I rambled for a little bit, but kind of not set up 2020 yet. Again, there's supposed to be that New Year's message, and then there's the first impressions of Bug Fable. You know, we all tab to our Steam library. Where's Steam? I haven't got Steam open. You know, we go to our Steam library, wherever it is, and I've got Bug Fable installed. It's ready to go, but we had to pause a minute because Pokemon threw this on me and said, hey, by the way, we know we were only mentioning this a day before, but here's a Pokemon live stream and it's going to have some stuff in. Well, you haven't given me time to set up. So yeah, I know this first video was just a little bit rambly all over the place because I haven't set up for 2020, but there's my thoughts. They ain't doing bad. The whole idea of expansion passes works for Pokemon. It's a fair price because, you know, it's just they're giving you 2 expansions for $30, which is an average price because, again, Dawnguard and Dragonborn were $30 combined, and Far Harbor and Nuka World also $30 combined. So you've already been paying $30, so it's a good idea. It's a fair price. I think Sword Island and Shield Island will be completely fine, and then we start seeing how they act when they, if they release Expansion Pass 3 and 4. So that's my things. But for now, I will let you go, and I will go sort out my desktop and actually get set up for the New Year's message and that first impressions of Bug Fable so that we can properly begin 2020.